So for part 2 of our tutorial, we're just going to look at the long and short stitch and the thread painting blending technique. So I mentioned in the last tutorial that we're doing this building up of kind of vertical stitches in horizontal lines, and they all blend into one another, and you can do that by stitching the stitches kind of next to each other and kind of squeeze them in next to each other, and you'll do a combination of that, but also splitting the stitches below on the row below to kind of blend them all in and to get rid of that fabric underneath. You don't really want to be able to see the fabric underneath. You want just stitches, blended stitches. So I am just going to, I think I mentioned it in the last tutorial, just introduce you to a kind of a cheat technique here. So you'll see here I'm using one strand of thread, and that's because I'm doing the kind of first horizontal section of blending the dark red into the pink neon. And to get the best blending technique, you really do need to use one strand of thread for these bits. So that initial line where you are blending one colour into another needs to be one strand of thread. So, but what you can do, and what I'll show you here, is that you can switch to 2 strands of thread, which is what I'm doing here. Once you've done that blending and you've blended one colour into another, and you want to do another horizontal row of stitches to build out that colour, then you can use 2 strands to kind of speed things up and to give you a bit more coverage. So if using one strand of thread is cracking you up, then switch to 2 on the rows in between the blended kind of rows. So hopefully you can see that here. And then once I've done this row in 2 strands, I'm going to switch back to 1 so that I'm then ready to blend the next colour, the lighter pink, neon pink. So those rows that are being blended, so the top end of one colour and the bottom end of another colour always need to be 1 strand. So I switched back to 1 strand here. So really it's kind of finding your own way of building those vertical stitches in horizontal kind of panels and blending them by splitting the bottom row with your new thread, or squeezing them into gaps where they need to be so that you can cover that fabric. It's quite an organic kind of process, especially when the shape isn't a kind of linear shape or a clear kind of shape, because the bird is a kind of a not uniform shape. It is very organic. So here I'm switching to the paler neon pink. So you'll see I'm using the 1 strand and I'm blending that into the darker neon pink. And hopefully you can see the kind of the blended effect that's being created. You can spend much longer on this. I'm always in a rush. But you can see that blended effect, and I just think it's so lovely on this kit because it actually looks like kind of the delicate bird feathers. You can really, I feel like you're kind of really bringing this little bird to life with these stitches, and it's just a gorgeous silky textured effect once you've done it. It's really satisfying.